We are going to start our new topic, which is actually embolism. Embolism is a very next topic after thrombosis, because both are related. We both are linked with each other. Thrombus is what was a thrombus? Thrombus was actually a presence of clot in any place in the blood vessel. But what is embolus or what is embolism? Embolus is actually a detached clot, a part of a clot which was detached from the from the initial space. It means disseminated clot from actual place is from embolus. So what is embolism? Embolism is actually a phenomena of formation of embolus, or detachment of clot from thrombus is actually embolism. So embolism can cause very serious condition in many human diseases. During many human diseases, it sometimes it remain asymptomatic or can resolve automatically, but sometimes it is enough to make patient condition more severe or fatal. So let's talk about the embolism. Here you can see objectives of our today lecture. Please read it carefully. So finally, how you are going to explain embolism? How you are going to define embolism? An embolus is a detached intravascular solid, liquid, or gaseous mass. So please keep in mind, embolus is not always a solid part of thrombus. It may be of liquid, it may be a solid part, or it may be a gaseous mass that is carried by the blood from its point of origin to distant site. It means there are two conditions. First of all, it may be solid, liquid, or gaseous. And then another important thing is origin of formation is actually distant from the from its side. It means there are two conditions. Embolus forms in condition when its point of origin to a distant site, where it is often cause tissue disinfection or infarction. So it can cause blockage of the small capillaries or arteries, or large arteries or veins. So after clotting or after obstruction in the veins, we can observe dysfunction of next tissues. We can observe infarction. What is infarction? We will discuss in our next lectures. So actually these are all important things about the embolism. What is embolus? It's a intravascular solid, liquid, or gaseous mass which is actually detached from the initial thrombus. We have already discussed about the thrombus and thrombosis. So it's actually embolus. So, what is pulmonary embolism? There are few types of the embolism. What is a pulmonary embolism? Pulmonary embolism is actually a very dangerous condition in case of embolus formation. We can observe embolus. Thrombus, you can observe in diagram that the a thrombus is present in the arm of the patient, but after a few time a small piece of thrombus is detaching from the thrombus. So after when a small piece become detached from the thrombus, this embolus moves with the blood circulation, and it can be obstruct in any other parts of the circulation. You can observe that a clot is coming from a part of a clot which is actually embolus. Embolus is coming from the deep veins of the leg. So after whenever it reach through the inferior vena cava into the heart, it can obstruct any part of the heart. It can obstruct in the any part of the heart. So it can obstruct in the after pumping from from one side chamber, when embolus moves from one side of chamber toward the lungs, then it can cause a major obstruction in the lungs, because there is a very there is a very thin blood circulation is present in lungs. So there are very huge chances of blockage of pulmonary circulation or pulmonary veins and arteries in case of pulmonary thromboembolism. So due to obstruction in pulmonary site, lungs can undergo damage, serious damage, and due to lungs damage, our body can suffer with the hypoxia, and there we can our tissue can observe can face severe injuries due to this condition. So pulmonary thromboembolism is actually a majorly common cause of pulmonary thromboembolism is DVT, deep venous thrombosis. We can discussed we had discussed this DVT in our previous lecture. Most common form among all thromboembolisms, and 2/4 of every 1,000 samples of patients we can observe thromboembolism. Usually, and still nowadays, 100,000 deaths per year in US can observe due to this phenomena. So you can observe the severity of this disease. We After obstruction in the lungs, the patient can suffer with hypoxia, hypertension. So this is all. This is some important. These were some important things about the pulmonary embolism. So there are some important things about it. Most pulmonary emboli are small and clinically silent. With time, they undergo organization and become incorporated into the vascular wall. In some cases, organization of thromboemboli leaves behind bridging fibers webs. It means you can observe that usually 60 to 80% emboli are so small that कि वो नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा सकते. So with the passage of time, they become organized and can cause more severe condition, or sometimes due to resolution of the embolus, fibrous webs remain behind. So fibrous webs become also dangerous in certain conditions. At the other end of the spectrum, a large embolus that blocks a major pulmonary artery can cause sudden death. You can observe a diagram in your book, in your Robbins pathology, that there is obstruction in the bifurcation of the pulmonary artery. So during the obstruction in the so during the during movement of embolus in the pulmonary in circulation, it can cause obstruction in the pulmonary circulation, and due to obstruction or due to severe obstruction in the pulmonary circulation, patient can face sudden death also. So there are another two important points about the thromboembolism. First of all, if obstruction is the present if obstruction due to embolus is occurs in the medium sized arteries and subsequent rupture of downstream capillaries, then an anoxic can cause pulmonary hemorrhage. It means if blockage occurs in the pulmonary circulation, and others and coming blood vessels are actually smaller, so rupturing of small blood vessels can cause bleeding and the hemorrhage at certain areas. And you have already studied that you should learn in anatomy that we have many organs in our body which are supplying with dual blood supply. So those organs which are actually dealing with dual blood supply can survive in embolus condition. Whenever there is obstruction in one circulation from one side, then it can compensate a condition with the blood from other circulation. So actually the organs with dual blood supply can survive under embolism. However, a similar embolus is the setting of left-sided cardiac failure can lead to pulmonary infarction. So left-sided of left side after so in left sided in left side of heart, embolus can cause pulmonary infarction. We will deal with the infarction in our next lecture. Embolus to small and arterial pulmonary branches usually causes infarction. So embolus to small and arteriolar pulmonary branches usually cause infarction. So multiple emboli occurring through time can cause pulmonary hypertension and right ventricular failure. So if you have studied circulation, blood circulation completely, right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle in physiology, and you now very clear concept about the circulation, so you can understand this pulmonary thromboembolism easily. So obstruction in any place can cause damage to damage to next tissue. So if obstruction is present before the lungs, then it can damage the lungs due to absence of blood supply, or due to damage of blood supply. Another important condition is systemic thromboembolism. Usually, systemic thromboembolism, 80% of cases arises from the intracardial mural thrombi. There is actually thrombi formation in the mural thrombi. A special mural thrombi can occur in can form within the heart. So usually 80% 80% thrombi embolus arise from these intracardiac thrombi, and from these to 80% rises, 75% are actually ventricular infarcts, and 25% are secondary to mitral valve disease. It means 25 cases can be observed, 25% cases are can be observed in any disease which is actually related with mitral valve. So mitral valve diseases or damage of mitral valve or any secondary condition can cause 25% increased cases. 10 to 15% unknown origin. Usually still we have unknown etiology of some dangerous conditions. We can move anywhere in the systemic thromboembolism moves anywhere in the arterial circulation, because we have also studied that there is a high pressure in the arteries. So with the pressure of artery, embolus can move anywhere in the circulation and cause obstruction. Usually obstruction it can cause obstruction in the peripheral organ, because due to less pressure in the peripheral organ, or due to slow movement of blood at the peripheries like lower extremities, there are 75, or there are increased risk of lower extremities in obstruction in lower extremities, just due to the less pressure, or just due to the distance from the heart. So there are 75% chances of embolism in lower extremities, and in nervous system or in brain there are usually 10% chances, and it is less common in the intestine, kidneys and spleen, because they are more close to the heart, because they are facing more pressure. Now, what is fat embolism? Fat embolism actually happens due to injury, or due to a severe skeletal injury. You know about the bone marrow, the function of bone marrow. You have already studied that the long bones contain a bone marrow, and the bone marrow is thicker than blood. Usually, bone marrow is red in color, because there is a bone marrow is a production house for the different blood cells, but in case of fat embolism, when damage, or when accident, or when any trauma of skeletal occurs, then a small piece of bone marrow release and move into the circulation. So this actually a small piece can cause very dangerous conditions, because this small piece is actually mostly consist of fats, and the fat and fatty acid can cause many severe pathological condition, and mechanically it can cause obstruction in small or micro circulation, and cause hypoxia and ischemia of tissues, like So soft tissues crush, injury or rupture of marrow vascular release microscope fat globules into the circulation. It means presence of fat globules in the circulation can cause fat embolism, because it is not easy to dissolve the aggregative form of fat or fat embolus in the circulation, usually present in 90% in severe skeletal injuries. You should careful about that. The severe skeletal injury can cause 90% cases of fat embolism. Symptomatic fat embolism. Most of the cases remain asymptomatic, but sometimes say fat embolism syndrome can happen. What is the fat embolism syndrome? In case of fat embolism syndrome, a small portion of fat or a bone marrow after or during trauma uh, moves into the circulation, and it can cause blockage of microcirculation. And you know, the microcirculation, especially pulmonary circulation, so obstruction in the pulmonary circulation can cause many severe conditions like hypoxia. It can cause hypertension. It can cause restlessness. It can cause tachycardia because of obstruction in the small obstruction in the lungs. Due to small obstruction in the lungs, patient feels restlessness, and uh, due to fatty nature of this globule, RBCs and platelets can bind with this fat globule. So after binding the platelets, it can so we can observe thrombocytopenia in our peripheral blood. And when many RBCs become bind or aggregates with the fat particle, then we can observe deficiency of blood, deficiency of RBCs in our peripheral blood. It is known as anemia. And ultimately, if this condition remains for a few time, then a patient can lead to coma. So actually, this how fat embolism can occur. There are two ways of fat embolism. First of all, mechanical mechanism. It means there is a simple obstruction of fat globules in the lungs, so or in the microcirculation. So simple obstruction in can cause fat embolism, and it is known as mechanical obstruction. And sometimes it can cause biochemical injury. So pathogenesis of fat embolism shows as a biochemical injury. So how biochemical injury, what is mean by biochemical injury? Fatty acid, fat globules release a small amount of fatty acid, and these fatty acids can cause local toxic endothelial injury. It means these fatty acids can cause damage to the endothelium. So due to damage of endothelium, many prothrombotic mechanism become activated, and so it can help in the it can also fat embolism in that way, through that way damage the endothelium more severely. So fat embolism is actually a fatal condition, especially in case of trauma. Most of the cases has been observed in the in after severe skeletal injury in road accident. So fat embolism is not a very common condition, or but sometimes it can lead to coma, and ultimately it can lead to death due to hypoxic condition or due to unresolved of fat. So basically fatty embolism is due to bone marrow from our long bones. Another very important mechanism, actually, amniotic fluid embolism. It can happen only in pregnant females. In pregnant females, you have already studied that there is a fluid around the fetus in the womb of the mother is present when amniotic fluid covers the fetus to protect it from injury or to protect it from external environment. It provides a cushion to the fetus, but pregnancy, or during delivery, or during contraction uh, of different blood vessels, or contraction of different muscles in pregnancy, especially during time of delivery. A small amount or small teardrops of amniotic fluids can enter into the when enters into the circulation, through placenta, in mother circulation, then it can cause very dangerous effects. Actually, amniotic fluid can enter through placenta into the mother circulation. This amniotic fluid may contain hairs, or may, like any other small particles. These amniotic fluid moves into the circulation of mother, and in the lungs it can cause amniotic fluid can cause obstruction in lungs, and it can cause severe and quick damage, or to quick hypoxic condition in the lungs. So due to quick damage or very rapid destruction of lungs, mothers usually its mortality rate is 80%. Means 80% females can undergo death after amniotic fluid embolism. So usually it very rare cases of amniotic fluid embolism has been reported, like one in every 40,000 deliveries. So amniotic fluid not only cause obstruction in the lungs, but it can cause initiation or stimulation of different procoagulant factors in mother circulation. Due to production of more procoagulant factors, procoagulant faction DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation, can happen. So due to production of more coagulant factors bind with the amniotic fluid, small tear or more drops of amniotic fluid, and cause coagulation phenomena. So due to the failure of lungs, or due to the less supply of oxygen, failure of heart and lungs can happen. And similarly, if a fetus is in the uterus of mother, but the delivery is before the delivery, if amniotic fluid embolism occurs, then it can become more dangerous. It can become dangerous for fetus as well, because it can cause permanent neurological damage in the fetus. So amniotic fluid embolism occurs only in pregnant females. So I think you have well understood the concept of amniotic fluid embolism. Amniotic fluid embolism actually happens in the mother circulation due to entry of small teardrops of amniotic fluid, and mostly it occurs in case of during deliveries, or in case of accident during pregnancy. There is another very much important thing is air embolism. Air embolism is actually simply a trap of air in the blood. So if air is trapped in the blood, air is compressible, but the blood is not compressible. So air remain a clot, a bubble of air, a air bubble remains in the circulation. It can cause serious obstruction in our microcirculation. So air can also cause embolism, air can also cause obstruction. So we can say air embolism, gas embolism as well, usually occurs due to the insertion of air during injection when 5 ml, around 5 ml air is inoculated into the blood circulation, then it can cause air embolism. Or during the head and neck injury, or during open heart surgery, or during trauma, a lung biopsy, and then air cause blockage of ventricles and blood vessels. So सो जहाँ तक ट्रोमा और लंग बायोप्सी की बात हुई, जो जब इनमें से किसी भी चीज़ के दौरान कोई भी एयर का बबल ट्रैप कर गया तो वो ट्रैप करके वेंट्रिकल्स में ज़्यादा हार्ट में जाएगा, हार्ट में क्या गया वेंट्रिकल्स की ब्लॉकेज कर सकता है, वेंट्रिकल्स के अंदर ब्लॉकेज कर सकते हैं, इसके अलावा डिफरेंट ब्लड वेसल्स में ब्लॉकेज कर सकता है। So air embolism is much important. It can also happen in the in a sudden change in pressure, means when in scuba divers or in deep sea divers, when वो स्कूबा डाइवर जब डाइवर्स डाइव करते हैं तो क्या करते हैं, सडनली प्रेशर इन्वायरमेंट में बाहर चेंज है, और जब वो डीप लेयर्स में जाते हैं वहाँ पर एकदम प्रेशर चेंज होता है। सो चेंज इन प्रेशर की वजह से क्या हो सकता है कि जो एयर ट्रैप, जो एयर इनहेल की गई थी, उसमें से कोई पार्टिकल या उसमें से एक कोई एयर जो हमने इनहेल की थी वो एयर जो है वो ब्लड सर्कुलेशन में ट्रैप हो जाए ड्यू टू सडन चेंज इन प्रेशर। ठीक है। सो नाइट्रोजन का भी वहाँ पर रोल होता है, और वहाँ पर नाइट्रोजन एक एक्चुअली एक्सपेंड कर जाती है एकदम के वो ब्लड सर्कुलेशन में जाने के लिए, जो एयर ट्रैप होने के लिए एयर को जो है मौका मिल जाता है। सो इट कैन ऑल्सो happens due to sudden change in pressure as well. So air embolism is much important. It can also cause collapse of cardiovascular system. It means it can damage heart, lung or pulmonary circulation. So in case of air embolism, when air enters into the vein, it can enter in right heart and after it can obstruct in right heart, or small air embolus moves into pulmonary circulation, where it cause increased pulmonary artery pressure. Due to increased pulmonary artery pressure or increased ventricular pressure, pulmonary chances of pulmonary edema and bronchospasms become raised. So air embolism can cause pulmonary edema, hemorrhage and bronchospasms. If air moves into the left ventricle, then it can cause a decrease due to a trap of air. Filling of ventricle remain incomplete, so it can cause decreased diastolic filling, and due to decreased diastolic filling, air is pushed into the coronary arteries. When blood moves into the coronary arteries with air can cause obstruction in the coronary arteries, and coronary arteries are supplying blood to the heart. So due to obstruction in the coronary artery, blood supplied to the heart become damaged. Due to damage of blood supply to the heart, it can cause collapse of it can cause pumping failure, or it can cause necrosis of heart, or it can cause damage of heart. So ultimately it can cause failure of cardiovascular system. So air embolism is actually another very much important thing, and some points are in your books which is around. So we have studied that it can cause chokes, air can and chokes into the circulation or pulmonary circulation. If a bubble is present in the in nervous system, or bubble is present in central nervous system, so it can cause mental impairment, it can cause mental damage due to less supply of blood, or due to incomplete supply of blood. And there is another condition which is known as Cassian disease. Cassian disease actually happens in when divers or deep sea diver moves with pressurized underwater vessels used during the bridge construction. स्पेशली एग्जांपल है जैसे कि क्या होता है कि जब एक प्रेशराइज्ड गैस को के साथ मूव किया जाता है किसी ऐसी जगह पर जहाँ पर क्या होता है गैस की ज़रूरत होती है, लाइक सिलेंडर ऐसा जिसमें गैस का प्रेशर ज़्यादा है। तो अब देखें जब गैस का प्रेशर ज़्यादा होगा तो हम जब इनहेल कर रहे हैं तो देयर आर चांसेस कि हमारे लंग्स से गैस जो है वो सर्कुलेशन में ट्रैप हो जाए क्योंकि प्रेशर ज़्यादा है। ठीक है। सो ड्यू टू तो इस प्रेशर की वजह से भी क्या हो सकता है, ये ट्रैप कर सकती हैं। जो है स्पेशली अंडर वाटर यहाँ पर भी जो है ट्रैप कर जाएगी। उसके बाद जो है अगर तो वो कहता है अगर तो बोन्स में है तो वो मल्टीपल फोकल स्कीमिक नेक्रोसिस है। द हेड ऑफ द फीमर्स टिबिया एंड फीमा आर मोस्ट कॉमनली इफेक्टेड। तो मतलब गैस जो इस तरह से है अंडर वाटर जोन से इफेक्टेड एरियाज उसने ज़्यादा बता दिए हैं, ठीक है। उसके बाद आता है कि व्हाट इज़ प्लेसिंग इफेक्टेड पर्सन इन द हाई प्रेशर चैम्बर टू फोर्स द गैस बैक इनटू द सॉल्यूशन। ट्रीट acute decompression sickness, decompression sickness। मैंने जैसे आपको बताया कि जब गैस एक प्रेशराइज कैबिन में है और उसको इनहेल किया जा रहा है तो जब वापस एक्सहेल करना उसके लिए मुश्किल होता है क्योंकि बाहर प्रेशर ज़्यादा होता है। तो ऐसे में क्या होता है एक्यूट डिकम्प्रेशन सिकनेस का शिकार हो सकता है बंदा। सो इट वाज ऑल अबाउट द एम्बोलिज्म। सो इट्स इज़ वेरी सिंपल टॉपिक, वेरी इजी टॉपिक, बट फुल विद MCQs। UHS में इसमें बहुत MCQs आते हैं, ठीक है। आप लोग इस टॉपिक को अच्छे से तैयार करें। कोई इतना लंबा टॉपिक नहीं है, बहुत छोटा सा टॉपिक है। UHS में इसमें से बहुत सारे MCQs आ जाते हैं, ठीक है। अगर आप लोगों को कोई हेल्पिंग मटेरियल अलग से मिलता है तो ज़रूर यूटिलाइज़ करें, ठीक है, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है। सो it all about was about embolism. So embolism and thrombosis, two very important topics and closely linked with each other. So please रीड दैम केयरफुली ताकि आप लोग जो हैं अपने एग्ज़ाम पास कर सकें। थैंक यू सो मच।